And you know, when you talk of prayer, prayer will be from those that we are owing, and prayer will be from those that are owing. Those that are owing will be they were putting prayer on me as a union leader to see from their perspective, why those that we are owing were putting prayer on me to see that their money is paid. So where do I go to? Then we got to a fixed point. All other union declares industrial action. But I remember praying vividly, and I was not led to declare that industrial action. To some people, they felt it was a betrayal. But to me, I've always told people that leadership in nursing, even politically, is beyond the jingles of politics. It is actually a ministry, because you see beyond what everybody is seeing. At a stage, I had a feeling that even leadership politically is like leading the people that God have interest in. And so at every point in time, you go back to God and ask God, even though others are following this path, how do you want us to solve this problem? So when every other union declared an industrial action, there was so much prayer on us to declare an industrial action. But like I said, I felt this exclusive reservation in my spirit that was not the way. So when about 3 or 4 unions declared industrial action, the management invited the Osuru management board, and they needed to come on emergency. I thought they were just going to invite us and say, do your worst and we're going to do this. Unfortunately, what they did was every member of the board were available, and they invited only the chairman and secretary of each union. And I was thinking all of us will sit together so that if this union is saying this, you can tap from what they have said, and you can tap and know what to say. Lo and behold, it was like a panel that you will come in per union, 2-2, and they will deal with you exclusively. So when the first union entered, they came out there, they were frowning, they were not happy, and people that were giants came out like the end has come. The next union went in, they came back, nobody could pop, and people were disappointed. Of course, I look at my secretary, and I'm privileged to have a daughter of Zion as a secretary too. When we get to a fix, we just hold our hands, look into each other's eyes. If you don't know what to pray for, we just pray in the spirit. So we held our hands, and we entered, and they put microphones, and everybody started asking questions. I remember them saying, so what exactly do you want us to do? You can imagine someone knowing you and still having the confidence. I'm talking about 6-7 months salary, and still having the confidence to challenge you that. So what else? What exactly do you want? My secretary was just, I heard her groaning inside. And I opened my mouth, and I told them that, yes, all I've come here to do is that you may help a generation of people that have served you. And for one reason or the other, they cannot eat from what they have labored for. I put them in your position, being their parent. I talk about people whose children have been withdrawn from them because they cannot feed themselves, not to talk of feeding their children. By the time I finished, everybody was quiet. One woman sees someone calling and say, and so we don't have money. Keep assisting them. I said, we've done our best, and I will expect that at this junction, as mothers and fathers, you will look into what you can do to help them. You do not need to pick their cups on the road because they have worked for us in this instance. And then suddenly, one of them, also a union leader before, said, Madam, I feel your burden. And I know that you have done your best for these nurses. Now, I want to plead with you. Give us the way out. And I'm like, which way out than to just pay this money? Then I remember that a group of professionals, as usual, have always been placed above every other person in the health sector. And I refer to them that if the government could source for money to pay 4 months for them, I would suggest that to money to pay for them too. And then the board chairman looked at my eyes and say, Bello, Bello, how do you think we'll get this money? I said, the same way government sourced for money for those other professionals. I plead with you to source for money. And I want to tell you that the next thing he said was, we will source for money from every angle. And we will pay them. They source for money by borrowing money, actually. First time in the history. They borrowed money, and the CMAC of the institution called me and said, Bello, they said you are the first that should call. Bring the list of your nurses. After paying your nurses, the remaining will be shared by others. And that was what happened. I won't forget it, because I know it was not just because I talked. It was because there's a power behind the little that I said. I will stop by saying you are at an advantage over others who do not know the God that owns the power of the universe. So if you find yourself in any place politically, remember that there is a God who owns absolute power, and he can help us. So don't run away. I have a burden because we keep running away. If you run away, others will occupy the position. If they occupy the position, you will remain complainant. It will not help us. We need people who know the God of the universe. We need people who carry the unction of the God that has absolute power to speak into situations and challenge authority and change the narrative. Nothing will happen if you keep sitting down and keep complaining. Something will happen if you move and you carry God in all that you do. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you very much, Dr. Bello. Wow. Prof. Prof, man, you're a deep inspiration to many of us, unarguably. But I don't even know how to ask questions because I don't know. You can bear me. Well, I want to believe that one of the reasons why Prof is a deep inspiration to many of us here, it's not just because she's Prof, it's because she's a woman of impact. Does anybody agree with me? And impact include you breaking so many ground consistently over a period of time. And it is not unlikely that she would not have, I would have asked that, what is your story, ma? But that would be maybe not the story for today. But I would have loved to ask that. What is this one major component or one common denominator that whenever you are faced with uncertainty, especially in new territories? Now, when I was reading about, there were some words I've not seen in my life in that Bible, some things I've not seen before. I was like, now, evidently she had, of course, you and I know that she's internationally recognized. She has been to nations, she has been to countries, she has been to continents. She has broken through the barriers of culture and a whole lot of other things. Definitely, she must actually have unifier. When I mean unifier, I mean things that whatever space she gets to, that when she engages this component, she engages this matter, whatever, how new, how novel that space is, there is a breakthrough. What would you say that is, ma'am?
Thank you very much, sir, for a beautiful question. Let me say a very big thank you. Really wonderful to have nurses sitting down. We're always on the move. So keeping us on this seat, I mean the three of us, sitting on this seat, it's a time to rest, isn't it? So my dear colleagues, thank you so much, for being here. I don't know where to really start from, but my answer is very simple. What is that? I would just say God, and I've answered my question. But I know that will not be enough by just saying God. It will need more explanation. As my sisters were answering the questions that they were asked, two situations quickly came to my mind. And there's no how I will not travel back the memory lane. It's not just possible. One of the things I like to do is what we are doing here this morning. I mean, having a family meeting. One denominator for all of us is, I believe we are all nurses. And there's something that must have drawn you to nursing. I really badly wanted to be a nurse. I became a nurse and I feel so proud. So happy, knowing nobody, knowing nothing. Just being a nurse feels me like a bowl of pounded yam, with bush meat on it. Then, when there was no, all those diseases that are animal related, zoonotic diseases. But the point I'm trying to say is that it's like you want something and you got that thing. Some years ago, I was in a country and I saw this beautiful babe, fantastic Christian. And I said to myself, matchmaking is not good. I do not understand the tenets. But in the Bible, I understood some things that I've seen. But my mind kept nudging and nudging to this young lady. She was everything you can see as an epitome of a wife. And I had a son who was not married. And so I began to pray. I really prayed myself out because I did not want to matchmake. Anyway, at the end of the day, God led me to ask her 3 questions. And if she could answer those 3 questions positively, then I might be thinking in that way. And then ask my son at home. That was in the US. Ask my son at home 1 question. And if he could answer that question, that was it. So I asked the young lady, one day she came to pick me out, and as we were going, I said, can I share a peep into your life? Tell me about your relationships. And then I got my answer from there. Have you ever been married? Have you ever done? I got my answer from there. What kind of a home did you come from? Where's your family? How is your spiritual work? What brought to this life? I got answers. So I got positive answer to the 3 questions I was looking for. And I called my son at home. I said, son, you know you've done what my husband and I want you to do. The next thing is marriage. And every time I try to bring this matter up, you are always pushing it away. Can we address this matter now? He said, Mommy. I said, no, I want you to go and pray. He said, no, I don't need to pray. God has spoken to me. I know you have found a wife. Mommy, if you've seen a wife that will give you peace all the days of your life, if you have found a wife that is genuinely a child of God, then go ahead. You see how my job became easy? Very simple. Very easy. So I just asked the lady, I'm going back to Nigeria. I came here for a 6-month fellowship. Would you like to travel down with me to Nigeria? He said, Mommy, wherever you go, I will go. If it's Nigeria, let us go. Today, they have been married for maybe 12 or 14 years. They have 2 children. When they said they were going to have just 2 children. And I said, I want a girl. My son said he wants a boy. I said, me, I don't know how it's going to be, but I shall want a girl. Everybody go and pray. And when they got pregnant, they had a set of twins, 1 boy and 1 girl. And so, matter closed. I'm talking about what my sister said last. Those who know their God, they'll be strong, they will do exploits. And exploits involve breaking new grounds. Because if you are always staying on the same ground, there is no issue about exploit there. And I want you to begin to think about what ground are you interested in breaking. Right now, I want you to write it in your notes. Just pick out your note and begin to think. As we have this conversation and as this discourse continues, begin to ask yourself, what arena, what aspects of nursing am I really looking forward to in the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, according to your faith, be unto you. Do I want to really break ground? And I want to tell you it's possible. And that is my story. So like my sister said, I worked in UCH. And the first time I got to UCH, I'm sorry if my time is up, let me know, because I may take a long time. And the first day I came to UCH to work, that was 1989 or 92, I'm not sure again. But I came to UCH, normally we will have orientation. And my husband told me, oh, Tirisha, so you are just on your way. So open your eyes, be careful. If anybody asks you, do you have a question? Don't be the first to ask questions. Just watch what is happening. So after the orientation, we went to the in-service unit. And the matron there asked us, do you have any question? My husband has already told me, so I kept quiet. Then somebody raised up her hand and said, yes, I have a question. One Igbo sister like that. And the matron said, yes, what's your question? She said, I'm from the East, and we don't have opportunity for various schools like you have here. But here you have University of Ibadan. Here you have this, you have that. Please, ma, I would like to go for B. The matron did not, I know the matron. We became friends. She's still alive. And so the matron said, be what? Will you keep your dirty mouth shut? B. He didn't even allow her to call S. No talk of C. Her face, her countenance changed. The hair on her head stood. I'm describing a scenario I witnessed. And everywhere became charged. Who are you? When did you start? These disgruntled elements. We were the disgruntled elements. You are just coming in. You have not even finished. You are not standing yet. You are still on probation. You are talking of school. Will you get your dirty mouth shut? Nobody should talk about any school here. Me, my husband has told me. So what was going on in my head is this the place that I want to stay and work? What kind of human beings are the people who work in this place? What's my future? In this nursing, I am a nurse and I want to practice it fully. Therefore, I have not gotten to where I am going. Too late, I'm in transit. That day, I began to look for every opportunity because I know that this place is not going to satisfy me. What are you looking for? What are you seeing? Where you are right now and where you want to go? How do you translate, transmit, transform, interpret circumstances and situations that you find yourself? My sister said, don't join other people to start complaining. The world is tired of problems. I'm sure you know there are problems everywhere. Go and ask Tinubu. There are problems. Everybody has. So the world is tired of problems. What people are looking for now is solution. So look for solution. Don't join and add more problems upon the problems. Anyway, not long after that, I got admission into UI. And that very day, I wrote my resignation letter. My sister said, yes, I want to be sure. I remember Ijebo. Okay, we went to the same school of midwifery. You were in school of nursing. I went to school of midwifery in Ijebo, Abeokuta. So I remember her first name, BC, which is my first name, BC. So I said, my namesake, maybe your name is BC now, I've forgotten, but she reminded me, yes, fantastic. Now, where I'm going, when she was talking, that day she was going to confront that psychiatric person. If that person had brought out a gun and shot her, sweetheart, yes, it has happened. Have you not heard of nurses who were killed? Mental health nurses who were killed by psychiatric patients? Anyway, let's leave that for another day. Where I'm going is this. She didn't go alone. What happened that people become casualties is because they go alone. When she was talking, she said that she had a secretary who is also a daughter of Zion. Remember Daniel, Meshach, and Abednego? Do you know that these young people, they were going together in the same flock? They were flocking together. Daniel was not alone. If Daniel had been alone, the story might have been different. He was not alone. So he had his own inner caucus. Beloved, where are your influencers? Are you a loner? Are you dwelling alone? Are you walking and running this race alone? It will be difficult to break new grounds. So you begin to think about it. Look at your associates. Look at who you are moving with right now. Are they fire extinguishers? No, yeah, they are fire extinguishers. Once you bring an idea, and the idea they know is going to fly, they are going to kill it. What are you doing with such people? Sit down, examine. The year is still very young. 2025 is just here. Who are your associates? Who are the people you are flocking with? Show me your friends and I will tell you who you are. And so, it became very easy for him. When the king said, we are going to kill all the astrologers, this is going to happen to them. He just told them, just give me some time. They went back and consult. I mean, the most important connection that you can ever get is connection with he who rules the earth and reigns in heaven. Yes, that's the connection every one of us should actually be. There's no connection you are looking for. I don't know whether Victor is in the house. Victor, are you here? Okay, Victor is here. Please stand up. Victor is my colleague. Actually, we work together. He assists me in the office to do everything I want to do. He makes life very simple for me and very easy. I appreciate you. We are preparing for something and we need money. I mentioned it because it's very new and fresh. He looked at me and I looked at him. We needed money. And the university has given us money. The dean gave us, I don't even know how much, up to 5 million worth. But these are equipment. I wrote to the provost. The provost gave us 2.2 million. These are things we cannot use. We got them, we are going to use them. I said we need money. And then somebody from postgraduate school, they gave us 7 million. The money is not for me, I can't take it. We are buying things that are deficient that we need to replace. And I said, I still need money. And then the vice chancellor said, madam, there's no money. So I told Victor, I said, I'm not going to sleep tonight. Because if you do not know how to rule in the night, don't expect to reign during the day. I'm telling you, if you are there still sleeping the sleep of death, may God deliver you. So I did not sleep throughout the night. When Victor saw me say, Mommy, easy. I said, easy no. So I went there and the vice chancellor said, I need money. Hello, just 1.2 million to entertain the registrar today. He said, I said, here's the paper. He said, I approve. This was yesterday. I said, sir, there's one professor in Cal University. He's very brilliant and young and making waves in that place. I want her as a visiting professor. He said, I said, it's pro bono. I said, I approve. Victor is here. When I came out, Victor looked at my face and said, Mommy, I said, yes. Where am I going? Please, beloved, learn and make sure that during the day, you want to reign as king, as queen. But in the night, there's something for you to do. Don't sleep like every other person is sleeping. Nurses are very busy. We occupy ourselves a lot of work. But the era of Florence Nightingale, where you allow nature to act on one, has passed. Because the kind of nature, the kind of environment that you find yourself now is completely different from that kind of era, that kind of environment, and the nature that was in existence during the period of Florence Nightingale. So what are you doing? What grants are you looking at? That is where I'm going. Now, two very quickly things. I applied for a program, West African Health Organization, and I was looking for a nurse who has applied for it before. I didn't see one nurse. And that's, instead of getting angry with myself, I made up my mind, I am going to get this thing, so that when one nurse tomorrow is interested in getting this, that nurse will be able to get it. After asking questions everywhere, nobody. So I went to find out what is the condition for getting this. And they said you have to know how to speak French. I don't know how to speak French. I'm very poor in language. So I went to buy a book of French. I went to Alain Francais, then in Bodija those days, and I asked, and they said, okay, I should come in for lessons. I learned small, on though, through a card, sense, sweat, enough. I learned that. And when we got to the interview, there's no single person. I was the only nurse, doctors, different kind of people. Not a single one can hear, come and let me kill you there. Of course, I won the position. And I was laughing that, they know that I can't speak French. But at least, the one that I know, I kept talking about it. You must be a risk taker. When poor, what's the name of those two midwives? Poor and the other midwife. Thank you, poor, thank you. When they took the decision to tell the king that, when these women are pregnant, before we get there, they have delivered. Do you know how many babies lost their lives? Just because of Jesus Christ. So these midwives made up their mind they were not going to kill her. It was risky. Just like my sister BC said, if they did not take that decision, number one, several other uncountable babies will have gone. Two, Jesus Christ probably. Two, anything could have happened. But I'm just saying that it is very risky if you want to break new grounds, but you must make up your mind. You must be determined, and the time to start is now. That thing you are written down, that area, that arena where you want to break grounds, you begin to look for information from that area. Look for somebody who has broken ground in that area. Connect with that person. Begin to ask questions. Time will not permit me to talk about last one, which happened in 2014. In 2014, I just sat down. I was praying, and God told me, go and apply for professorship, for your professorship. I laughed. All the people around me, there's no professor. How am I going to apply? I don't even know how to do it. I don't have sample because there's nobody who has applied for it in my faculty. I'm talking about breaking new grounds. And I thought about myself. I said, wow, fantastic. It would be a good idea. What will happen is they will tell you no, isn't it? My first thermometer is my husband, is my priest. So I asked him, and I was flatly disappointed. I said, B, I want to apply for professorship. He looked at me and said, hey, Josephine, where is this one coming from? You better go and apply for associate professor and get the money of that associate professor. So when I heard that, I went back to pray. God told me that if you apply for associate professor, one, it will take a long time. Two, I will oppose it. So whoever is your reviewer, I will enter into that reviewer to say that you do not qualify. Who is going to talk the matter? The Bible says God resists the proud and gives grace to the humble. That's why it is very dangerous to be proud. Because it is the King of Kings himself, Obati, Fobajeti, Roloye, is the one who is going to resist you. If pride in any way enters into you, I pray we pray for ourselves. You are going to break ground. No matter what you get, no matter the level you get to, humility is your watchword, and you must continue to be humble. That is by the way. What I'm saying about becoming a professor. And I said, God, okay, this man, if he doesn't ask me to go ahead, I cannot go. He said, don't worry, I will take care of it. Fantastic. And then let me try another person, my mentor. I told her I want to apply for a professorship. She looked at me from head to toe. She said, you are full of yourself. You these Nigerians. She's a Nigerian, but she has been in the US for several years. You these Nigerians, you like title. What are you going to do with professorship? Leave it. Let us work together for about 10 years more. Then that time you can apply. I was talking about fire extinguisher earlier. So I said, okay, my spirit became down. I was deflated. So when I got back home, my husband said, what did she say? I said, she said I should not apply. And that while I was leaving on the way, she called me back. I said, Mom, well, even though I've told you not to apply, you can go and try. Look at me. If you try, they know that I'm your mentor. They are going to send it to me, and I will not support you. Yes, face to face, she told me. I said, thank you, ma. So when I told my husband, he was lying down. When I told him, he just jumped off from the bed. He said, who is he who said the thing and it comes to pass? He said, now you are going to apply. Who is she? She's a doctor. She's not a nurse. She doesn't have to over professorship. Go ahead and apply. I support. Now. Go and start applying. And God broke the ground or the first one that would have prevented me. And so this second one does not matter. Now I don't have all that I needed. So I went to God. God said, bring out your CV. I sat down. I can show you my daughter. If I knew this is what I'm going to be talking, because I prepared some things. I thought we were going to be looking at some things, preparing. And I would have brought the jotter. I wrote it down in the jotter, step by step, everything from beginning to the end. And so what I'm going is this. I began to prepare. And it says, what are you deficient in? I said, look at the paper. It's okay. Pick your phone. Call somebody now. Tell the person that I said, there's something is working on. And you want to be part of that thing. I said, sir, this person is an Ifa worshipper. I'm telling you, I know him. He's an Ifa worshipper. How will I tell this person that I want to work with him? He said, do what I asked you to do. So I picked my phone when I couldn't sleep, like King Ahasuerus could not sleep. I called the person and said, I'm in the US. I want to monitor one election. I'm not doing anything. I don't have anything I'm doing. I said, okay, it's all right. At least I've obeyed. 2 weeks exactly. And when I came back, I said, God, you see now, if I worship her telling me this kind of thing, he said, go and get something ready, prepare, work on this and work on this. And I wrote that and I kept it. 2 weeks exactly after, the man called me and said, I sent the paper to Germany. They have agreed, they have sponsored everything, they're going to publish it. They just returned it to me that they don't publish odd numbers. I have 9 chapters there. So they say I should go and bring one more chapter. And he take me, no, one more chapter. Do you see? I'm telling you how God works. This is me. And so I just brought that paper and I just gave it to him, and they agreed that now they are going to fund, they sponsor, they publish, they did everything, and I had free of charge international paper I never knew about. Is he truly who knows the end of the art from the beginning? That is the God that we serve. And so my application was ready. And so when I was going to submit, I said, God, I'm afraid. I don't even know what to do. He said, okay, what do you want to do? I said, let me even go and ask people who are there. He said, okay, if you are looking for the answer from men, go ahead. I spoke to one person who was a dean. He said, Madam Erobaini, I want so. They've been there for years since we were students. They even taught you. They never dreamt of becoming a professor. How dare you? Don't try it. Nobody a law, if it passes, because you are nurses, you don't have professor, it's doctors that will sit on it. Nobody manage, and it goes and passes at faculty level. It cannot go at college level. I assure you, don't bother. He's a Christian, he's my friend, I knew him. That dampened my spirit. The second person I spoke with was my supervisor in Nigeria. He told me, Ewan ambitious, Ewan, you're not trying associate professor. What I applied for was an accelerated position. I was a senior lecturer. If a senior lecturer you want to fly, they call it high flyer. You jump associate professor. It has never happened before. Even me, I've never had it. But the Spirit of God just put it in my spirit, and I just decided to do it. What do I have to lose? It's obedience. Let's go ahead. Go and study the book of Esther and find out what happened to Vashti, beloved. How come that, yes, let's agree that King Ahasuerus is power drunk or anything happened to you. But you know, after Memuna, one of the eunuchs has told him that this thing that Vashti did, if you don't do something about it, our wives at home will not be obeying us again. How will the women in the house know what happened in the palace? But because you pray against every memuna, against your advancement, your growth, your development, and fulfillment of the mandate of God for your life. If you take it serious and you can work with it, you can break new grounds. Anyway, Vashti was dethroned, and then Esther had to come up. For Esther to come up, Esther had a relationship with Mordecai, which you all know very well. I don't want to go into it. Who are you in a mentoring relationship with? You know, I've told you how my mentor disappointed me, but that notwithstanding, I have gotten to so many places on the shoulder of giants that by myself I wouldn't have been able to get to. So I'm saying that please try to look for a mentor, a genuine mentor, a correct mentor who is in the line of where you are looking for ground to be broken, and then you can really latch on them and leverage on them and be able to get to exactly what you want. As I ran up, let me just say to us that application went through because God now told me you are looking for the answers of men. If you ask 10 men, they will tell you no, because they cannot conceive it. God is the owner of ideas, and any idea you cannot conceive, you cannot conceptualize, you can't deliver. Yes, that is it. That's why when everyone was asked, what do you see? He said, as far as you can see, I give to you. If you cannot see, you cannot possess. May God open our inner eyes, enhance our understanding to see beyond what is happening in our environment, in our immediate environment, and just what other people are saying. When the professorship was announced, exactly in February, I was crying because I knew it wasn't my game. Completely, it was the game of God. And so when people started talking, you have broken the ceiling, you have done this, I said, these people don't understand. Beloved, I plead with you, if you have a dream to break new grounds, please cling unto God. Listen to him. Be in the closet. Make sure he who dwells in the secret place of the Most High God shall abide under his shadow. And in the shadow of the Almighty God, several secrets. Deuteronomy 29:29 says it also. Secrets will be revealed unto you, and then you can control not only your world, but your universe. Thank you.
Can we please appreciate them? I feel we can do better. I'm totally speechless right now, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And because Professor Priska said this is like a family setting, so similar as the last born here. Thank you. All right. According to what they all said, I feel, and it's obvious that a spiritual man, the space we walk into, there should actually be a change. That everybody, if you know your place in Christ, when you come into a space, there should actually be a difference. To Professor, soon to be, in Jesus' name, Dr. Ironke Bello. I can sort of imagine 8 years as a NAM chairman, and I'm sure it was not easy. I have a question here, ma'am. In the Nigerian healthcare system, nurses have little impact on the overall healthcare policies, except in their roles as nurses advocates, which impacts their patient's need. Yet, it is said that nurses are the heartbeat of healthcare. How can we upscale that?
Thank you very much. Earlier on, listening to Mommy Adejumo, our CV, our breach CV, because I say it's a breach. You read our CV here, will be here the next 1-2 hours. Now, you will notice that she also has authority in some other areas. The other time I was speaking, I said, where decisions are made, not restricted to bedside, neither is it restricted to classrooms. We need to break ground on how to get to where decisions are made. We need to go beyond where we are. We need to move further. She also said something that when she was making those efforts, that they send her back and say, no, that is my policy. When you take a risk, it is either yes or no. When people say they are afraid to confront or ask anybody for anything, I say, let's go. The worst answer you will get is no. No will not take my life. I will carry the no and go back to the drawing board, re-strategize, and we'll move on. The person who said no today will see me with a yes tomorrow and will feel bad or come back and say sorry. Just like they told her, don't pursue it. But because she had a conviction, if you notice there's something that's been recurring, the difference in all of the things that we do between us and the secular people is that we have a God who determines the end from the beginning. So our journey is not a journey of chance. Chances don't just occur to us. Our journeys are ordered by God. Our steps are ordered by God. Because we have a privilege to know the secret things. When we make those trials, when we take those steps, God brings out the best from them. Yes, it is not easy to pass through the political terrain in Nigeria. We're not known in so many places, but I can tell you it is possible. And in the next few months or years, people that God has groomed will evolve in nursing and they will lead. It is the reality that our authorities are challenged by other people, but wait for it. It only remains very few, period. And then you will begin to see authority speak. You will begin to see Christian nurses taking authority and reigning politically so that our profession can move forward. One recurring decimal. All of these cannot occur outside God. Let me digress a little bit before I forget. There's an advantage that Mommy Adejuma also mentioned when you know God. The advantage is that tells you what is going to happen, guides you on how to go into it, it leads your way. We now look like Omo ṣe nítorí pé Ọlọ́run dá sí. Nǹkan tó dùn ṣe bí tí Ọlọ́run ti parí. That is the advantage of having this God. If you have a God, if you have this God and you are not moving at the pace wanting you to move, please look inward. Grow the more. Desire him the more. He will guide you. He's interested in every aspect of our life. When Mommy Adejuma was talking about, I have a son at home. She said, I'm sorry, we needed to digress a little. She said, I want a wife that will give me peace. Today, all of the things she's achieved is not one-sided. She has all-round peace. Because she served the God who led her path to assist our children to grow in the path of God, including decision making. And I told myself, I don't know of you, my daughters will marry children that will keep my mind at peace. My own daughter, they will marry sons that will keep my mind at peace. That is the advantage of having a God who controls the universe. Tap into it, grow in it, and you will enjoy around peace and advancement. I hope I managed to have.
Can we please appreciate that? All right, let's say this after me. By my God, I run through a troop, and I leap over the wall. We can do better. By my God, I run through a troop, and I leap over the wall. Thank you so much to our mommy, Oshisonwuma. How can I prioritize God in a clinical setting while remaining relevant and not appearing overly religious or extreme? Additionally, how can I overcome the pressure of others doing the wrong thing while I strive to do the right thing, ma'am? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. In the clinical setting, there is one thing I have been doing every day since I became a nurse. I'm going to work, and I think that's what most Christian nurses has been doing or should be doing. Don't just go to work, whether you are in the general side, psychiatric setting, or whatever settings that you find yourself. You don't just go without committing your days into the hand of God. In fact, it is God that will set the pace for you. It is God. There are some times that even on your bed, you will have the knowing of what is going on, even on the ward. And that by the time you even call, by the grace of God, I'm a nurse administrator. I have to be calling the supervisors in the hospital, even during the weekends, at night, to know what is going on right there in the hospital as per the nursing department. Sometimes I feel uneasy even at home. By the time I'm calling the supervisor, they'll be telling me this and this and this and this is happening. Sometimes I will tell them, give me some minutes. I'll put off the phone. I'll pray. I'll desire God to give me, the solution to that problem. And by the time I ask them, do this, do this, do this, by the time they are giving me reports the following day, it just be wonderful. So, as a clinical nurse, as a bedside nurse, daily, whether you run morning shift, afternoon shift, or night shift, whatever shift you run, don't run that shift by yourself. Commit everything into the hand of God. What other people literally will say that, oh, this is a difficult situation. I tell you, God would have told you, oh, many a times I used to, when I'm praying, I will tell God, God, you gave Pastor Kumuyi the solution to his thesis right in your presence. So whatever challenges I'm going to have that may face me to work and to all the, this and that, just give us some time. They went to pray. And by the time they came back, they have solutions to the problem. Look at Joseph. God has started, even before he got to the managerial post, God has given him, solutions to some things. That even while in the prison, when he was like incarcerated, while in the prison, God gave him some insights. So there are ways that God, so as a child of God, you need to have a way you are communicating with your Father. And the way, you need to know the way God communicates with you. So as a clinical nurse, you have to be in touch with God per time, per season, or per seconds. And I don't know if there is anything that is faster than second. You have to have a relationship with God like that. Because, especially we that are psychiatric nurses, anything can happen. Anything can happen. But when you are in touch with God, the Spirit of God will always help you to navigate whatever the problem is. And most of us, bedside nurses, we are so convenient or comfortable with, oh, let me serve my medication, let me give my injection, let me do this, let me do that. We don't want to dwell, in some things that look so difficult. A patient is running temperature, they have conducted a lot of investigation, nothing abnormal found in the investigation, and you want to think about it. What is it that is making a critical thinking about it and connecting with your Father? Lord, please, what is really going on with this patient? And you see God giving you a headway. And by the time you are making your submission at the ward round, and it's like everybody will just be looking at you that, where did this kind of a wisdom come from? Not from you, but from God. So as a clinical nurse, don't run your day without God. Don't run your day, don't run your shift without God. Some people will say, I'm on morning shift. Yes, you are on morning shift, but don't let it be you and you alone. Run it with God. Run it with the Spirit of God. When the king was challenging some of his subjects, that there is one of you that is always leaking out the secret. One of them told him, he said, look, there is one prophet somewhere in the person of Elisha. Even what happened in your bedroom, he knows. How did he get to know? Because he has a connection with the God of heaven, who is all knowing. So anything about your patient, even when others are looking at it, what are we going to do? You should be able to connect with the Father. I heard of a nurse. My pastor was talking about a particular nurse. I've forgotten the hospital. A patient packed in the hospital. And they were looking for this particular nurse. And it's like, oh, where is this person? Where is this person? Lo and behold, he has locked himself up somewhere. Pray. Bring back that patient. To pray to God. Bring back that patient to life. And God honored that prayer. So you can be a nurse like that. Nothing must die in your hand. Though in nursing, we say we nurse our patient to peaceful death. But there are some patients, there is a particular patient in our hospital now. A young girl. We have to be praying the nursing forum for this particular patient. Is in the NHIS. A young girl, she was rushed in from the school and she was throwing feet. And this feet was already becoming status epilepticus in nature. And the mother claimed that this girl has never had any seizures since the day she was born. She was about 15 years of age. Just November here, she had a fall from the bunk in the hostel. And from then on, this problem started. We have to be praying. We cannot just treat this individual medically with drugs alone. We have to put, as a bedside nurse, you don't just treat your patient with the medication that is being prescribed. You treat your patient spiritually as well. As you are administering the medication, you are praying to God, God, as I'm giving this medication, let it go well with this patient. Let it effect the right work that I want it to go and do. You are sending the word of God. The Bible says, send his word heals and delivers from destruction. So as you are giving the injection, as you are giving the drugs, you are also giving the word. You are, as a bedside nurse, you are ministering to your patient clinically. You are also ministering to your patient spiritually. You combine the two together and you see the patient, that individual would have said, okay, this is a write-off case. You see this patient coming back to life. Well, by the time the nurse came out of the praying room, the war room, this patient came back to life. And they were like, we know you have gone to do something. Said, just let us attend to this patient. So that is the kind of a clinical nurse. Even if you have not found yourself in the school, you have found yourself at the bedside. You are ministering live that patient. You are breaking grounds that people ordinarily would have said, medically, this is a write-off case. Let's just nurse this individual to a peaceful death. But you are nursing this patient back live. Well, if a patient is old enough to go, good enough. When my dad was in the hospital, just last, few days, to leaving us, dying, I was praying, God, I don't want him to go. I don't want him to go. And he was on the sick bed. He was not getting better. The night I told God, I said, God, I surrender. 2 minutes after that, I was called. Yes. You have a power in your hand that you can use to hold life. Even when men are saying this, if you have checked it up with God, and God is saying this one is not unto death, can bring back the life. God will help us. Thank you.
Please tell somebody beside you, it's not that hard. Now you know raise God. It's not impossible. Now you know raise God. Oga, are we hearing the things that we are hearing in this place? It's not, is it that hard? Oga, raise God in this life that we are in. We are moving to another level in this discussion, and we're going to be realistic and pragmatic going forward. Of course, the things that we have been saying is actually enough to actually create an atmosphere with which we can actually make progress. Now, going forward, let me ask Prof. Adejumo. Now, Mommy, realistically, which area in nursing research as it is appear to be underexplored, and how can nurses bridge that gap? Currently, as it is in nursing research, which area appears to be underexplored, appears to still be very virgin, and nurses can actually bridge that gap? And maybe additional to that question, permit me to put this, to throw this call. If I'm planning to transit from the clinical into the academia, what do I need to pragmatically do? What do I need to put in place? For a brief recap, number one, if what areas in nursing research appears to be underexplored currently as it is, and how can nurses bridge that gap? And two, if I want to transit from the clinical space into the academia space, what do I need to practically do?
Thank you very much. And thank you so much, my namesake, for that insight. You know, for me, everything starts with God. In the middle of it is God, and at the end is God. You cannot remove me from that by the grace of God. I put in a race. I wanted to become the registrar of Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. And you are not laughing. I expect you to say, yes, it was a tall order. It was a very big one. But I had some mentees who felt very strong. I mean, I wasn't very strong, but they were very strong. And left for them, they were ready to do anything. Unfortunately, I invited one of them. He couldn't make it. I don't know what happened. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, number one, dream big. Don't just always be on that small level. I mean, for me personally, if it were to be me, I mean, I'm not cut off for that, personally. But when the pressure came, sometimes, you know, I've read it in the Bible that when I was young, I go to where I wanted to go. But when I became old, I go to where others want me to go. They want you into vehicle and move you to wherever they want to. You can't say no. But now you can say, no, I'm not going there, and go to wherever you want to go. I'm talking about the areas that are really fallow, that needs to be broken to, where the ceiling to be broken. One of them is in the area of politics. Yes, we may not all be politicians, but we are all political beings. Yeah. So I would like to say, go for every position, wherever you are. If FCN wants a new president, apply for it. Don't laugh. Don't say I'm not in that zone. I can say, our mama alone here. What stops you? If NAM is looking for, go ahead and apply. Apply for every position that you think you are interested in and will advance you. Politically is an area that, you know, is really very, 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 very shallow. We have so much to explore. Recently, that my mentee that I said could not make it here, I asked him to go and represent me somewhere. I just came back from a program where mentees, nursing, are being developed, and I spent about 6 weeks in Abuja. I was really tired and fagged out. On my way, they called me. Please, there is this thing, they want to do nurses to become consultants, and we need you. I said, I cannot come. I beg. My husband is at home. I have to take care of him. Let me give you somebody. That somebody is because I know is a person who I am confident when it comes to politics. He understands more than I do and will be able to help. He's younger, but that's not the issue. I'm talking about politics. So immediately I chatted the person up. He said, we have to get the commissioner. I said, that's not a difficult thing. I brought out my phone. We can get commissioner. We have to get head of service. Oh, it's not a problem. I know head of service. I can call head of service. We have to get, I don't know I needed those people for that thing that they just called me up. But he knew that, look, to get that in, it's not about competence. You need to more way and then more way. To more way. Do you get my point? It's not, you can't be a first classer. In fact, let me give you, my daughter went for internship, something. I said I wanted her to come to UCH. She said she doesn't want UCH. Okay, fine. So she went by herself to go and meet the commissioner, and commissioner got a space for her in Ekiti. In this Ekiti, she went with some of her friends that are very close friends of us. They come to the house, sleep, wake up, do everything, and that person has first class. So my mind is settled that that one does not need help. After all, I didn't go and look for help for my daughter. She was the one that went by herself. Although she leveraged on my relationship with commissioner, she went to speak with commissioner. Commissioner just got his space for her. I told her, they just go and apply first class, they will take you. When the result came out, they didn't see first class on the list. First class did not work for a nurse to do internship. But my daughter that has second class upper, that did not have first class, because she knew commissioner, she was on the list. I had to carry myself with shame back to go and be looking for how to look for help for a person who has first class. I don't know whether you are deciphering what I'm saying. So the meaning is that on Latin more way, code there more way. But for me, when the crown, once there's a clash with the crown wins. The day the idea of registrar position died in me was the day I met somebody. Tony Ogbebo introduced to me. Tony told me, we went to school, the same school, UBT. He said, "Ma, there's this person I need you to talk to. This person is going to help you. I just trying to force me to become a politician overnight." So I picked my phone and I called the person. "Oh, I'm applying for the post, and I was told that you're a Christian, that this, I want to hear." The person said, "So what have you done?" I said, "I've prayed and I'm praying." The person told me that, "Madam, this one is not prayer." And immediately I dropped the idea. Anything that prayer cannot do, please, I am not interested. Whenever the crown, please watch it and take notes. I'm not saying you should fail to do the needful. No, don't be slack. Whatever is needed and your spirit permits you to do, go ahead and do it. But whenever you are having come in your spirit, when your spirit is not giving you the nudge, don't do it there, because your crown, there's a struggle for that crown. And please don't ever, no matter what the thing is, once your crown is becoming compromised, run away from such a thing. And that is another advantage that we have as children of God. So when it comes to new areas to be broken into, I will say that one is politics, but two also is that every area in nursing has uncharted terrain. Yes, there are terrains in nursing that some people have not charted. I became a dean in UI on the 27th of May 2024, last year. And there is a slogan among the deans: whoever becomes a dean becomes a baby. So when they are introducing me, they will say, "Here comes grandma, but baby dean." Now our baby dean is a grandmother, but that is the slogan. And I sat back and I said, okay, so what's new here? And I was not even praying, and an idea just dropped to me. Can you write a book about deanery or deanship? I said, where do I have time for this one? Okay, it's all right. I went straight to the vice chancellor. BC, an idea came to me. I want to write a book on deanship. He said, wow, we have been looking for this. In fact, if you can do it, I'll be very happy. I will write the forward. I'm ready to do this and do that. And I'm like, wow, ideas are always flying. There's no area if you just allow God to open your eyes. I know you know the story of Jacob, how he got tired and wanted to leave, and God told him, just do this. And then he became very wealthy from those lambs or sheep or goats having the different colors, because when they look at the color, that time there was no genetics, there was no hybridization, but in the spirit realm it has been existing. All those people who discovered electricity, Faraday, those people were Christians. They were not just ordinary scientists. They were people who had the privilege of peeping into the spiritual realm. If God will open your eyes, the Spirit of God just open your eyes, to penetrate into the spirit and you see what is happening. My sister was talking about Elisha. And when the servant was saying, hey, we are in trouble, they have come, he said, God opened his eyes. Said, legions, people they are more than those, okay, then he chilled and calmed down. Because you now know that, yes, I'm cool, calm, and collected in this environment because there's a spiritual arena and there's a spiritual walk, and that person's eyes open. If you are always in the physical, by the way, the Holy Spirit asked me to ask you a question while I was preparing for this meeting. I have a meeting at this time in my church, and I told them I cannot come because I have to be here. And there was some, skirmishes between that. This is the new year. No. I was not saying it because of you to clap. I was just saying that they were feeling like, no, now we have to go to church. This and that. I said, no, I have to go to this place because I've agreed I'm going to be here. That's not the issue. The issue I'm saying is this. How many of you, please don't say the truth. How many of you this morning, you read your Bible, you did your quiet time this morning? Raise up your hand. Don't raise up your hand if you did not. Don't raise up your hand if you did not. Please, I'm pleading with you. Thank you. I have just about 10 hands in this whole lot of congregation. If you are going to break ground, beloved, you can't do that. It's not going to work. How do I walk you? Ezioku, I am sincere with you. You can't. You can't sleep like other people are sleeping. I have a fellowship 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. every day. Every day. If you are looking for what is not common to everybody, you must be ready to do uncommon things. So every aspect of nursing, I jotted some things down. Every aspect of nursing. Let me go through just a few of them, so that you will know that there's no aspect of nursing that you are going into, and I will tell you the difference once I finish going through a few of them. The first one that I talked about here, talked about technological integration. Forget about conspiracy theory. I've read a lot of things that says, okay, the guy who developed AI said that they had opportunity to get to a point, and the actual code that makes virtual realities and all those things to work, that they didn't know it. And so he came out openly that he's no longer interested, and then he down tool and he left. There are so many conspiracy theories, but the truth of the matter is AI is very helpful in doing so many things, a lot of things, extreme things. If I'm going for interview, I want to interview a vice chancellor, I don't sit down cracking my head. I just employ AI, and I have fantastic questions and answers. So when you come and you're babbling, I just know where you are going. I don't have to stress myself so much in doing so many things, because AI is there to help me. I'm supposed to use it as an assisted tool. Where problem is if I depend absolutely upon it, and if I'm not doing integration. Some of us, we just want everything is ChatGPT. Everything in their life is ChatGPT. You are not going anywhere, sweetheart, because you are rigmarole in one direction. There are so many uncountable number of them. Interact with many more. And then if you want to do anything, take idea from this, sit down, use themselves. Use themselves to give you those things that you have gotten from a new perspective, and you have a different thing altogether. So if you are doing anything, or you are doing it, it's not something you are going to say, oh, it is from ChatGPT. So you can integration where artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and all those technological innovations, where they are going, I'm not there, and I get to a point, I know that yes, this is where my bus stop is, and I employ those. You can utilize those things, send money on errand, and do it. Yes. So there's no problem of saying that because I gave injection, I had a needle prick. There's nothing like needle prick injury, because once it comes in contact with the surface, it vanishes. So it minimizes that. You will see lots and lots of things that AI is going to assist. You see a lot of simulators that will talk to you when you talk. Yeah, long time ago, before it came to Nigeria. But now we are having them. So what I'm saying is that if it is the area of technological advancement, you can break ground. If you are tech savvy, there are so many young people who are professionals, and they are experts in a lot of things that we do not do. I plead with you to look at that area. Artificial intelligence, virtual reality, online hybrid learning modes has opened the world to us. If you want to get anything right now, it's not difficult. You just need to take a click, and you are there. Are you looking for an expert in one area you want to communicate with? You want to ask questions? The world is open to you. So in the area of artificial intelligence and technological integration is very open. The second one is, he asked me a question that if you want to transit from maybe clinical area to academic area, what happens? Right now, as I speak with you, there are vacancies in the US. vacancies everywhere. But what's going to make you to be sellable? And I always tell people, if you go to the market, especially as women, and you want to buy meat, will you see meat that is green and go and buy it when there is a wholesome meat there? No, now. So how marketable are you? There was an interview a few days ago. I had a conflict of interest because I've asked one of my mentees to apply, and I wanted my conscience to be clear, but I was too sure that if he gets there, he will win. Unfortunately, he didn't apply. But because of that, I pulled out of people that we interviewed. And when they were interviewing them, they came back to give me the report of the interview. Please, I am telling you, if you want to move from any area into academia, you need to do much, much more than every other person is doing, because the questions you are going to be answering are not questions that are going to test your intelligence. They are going to be questions that will test your cultural competence. How culturally competent are you? Are you a polyvalent person? Can you deal with people, multicultural people? How do you understand relationship? And all those things are not written anywhere in the textbook, and you might have not been taught in the school. But your ability to integrate those things, because the boundaries have collapsed. In those days, when nursing started with what we call system, that, okay, block system. You will do endocrine system. Then an endocrinologist from the clinic will come and teach you a doctor. Then we transited to another phase. In that phase, no, doctor cannot teach me. It's a nurse that must teach me. But now, I am telling you, we are in the world of interprofessionalism. If whatsoever you are doing, you are born, taught, guided, clinically precepted by a nurse, and then you are open to come out and be competent and become somebody that you are deceiving yourself. So you need to wake up. You have to make up your mind that I'm going to be interculturally, interprofessionally. You're going to be able to relate confidently and competently with the doctor. You are going to be able to interact confidently without any inferiority complex. No. That's what I'm talking about. You are on top of your game. You have knowledge. You can compete conveniently. You are not ashamed. You don't have inferiority complex. You know what you are doing. You own your onions. That means you have to be a person who is ready. Somebody who knows what is going on in journal activities. Some of us, okay, 10% of us, that is the thing that concerns our Father. What concerns our relationship with God. What will make us to be able to be here and know that we are not here, we are not of here. Only about 10 of us are doing that. How not much more if I ask you, how many of us here sat down to read or consume an output of a research finding in the last 1 week? I'm not asking. So don't let your heart shake. Calm down. But what I'm saying is that you can't do that. If you want to advance, if you are interested to break ground in any area, especially if you are moving into academics, then you have to be somebody who is on top of your game in terms of what you want to study, what you want to read. You can't say I'm in med-surg, and med-surg is what you are doing. When you have to supervise a student who is in mental health, it's very important. So that's what I wanted to say about interprofessionalism. The word, there are grants, and those grants, the difference that you will have for another person is somebody who is one straight silos jacket, another person who is crisscrossing. When they pick your CV and they look at it, you have worked with this person from Jamaica, you have worked with this person from Kutupa, they know you are likely going to do better than somebody who all his life went to staff school, went to ISI, came to UI, graduated, started working in usage as a doctor. Forget it. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. The exposure is not there. And so it's going to constitute problems. So if you're going to move, interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, interprofessional is your area that you want to gun for. You want to be able to know that, for example, my mentee told me about climate change. I wanted her to write something. And he said, I said, don't trouble me. And I went to read it. And of course, I had an opportunity to be in one place. And what they're talking about is One Health, climate health. It's not only about, now there are antimicrobials that are used to take care of animals and are affecting human beings. So you can't just be talking, it's only human beings I'm looking at. Yes, concentrate on your human beings. In fact, there's veterinary nursing. Now, any nurse who is not worth his onions, I tell them, go and be veterinary nurses. But be veterinary nurse in local environment where they don't value animals. Don't be a veterinary nurse where the life of animals even worth more than the life of a man, because you go to jail several times over. And you will accrue years that will wait for you, that even after death, your corpse will still be paying the things that you have to pay for. That will not be our portion. I'm just laying emphasis on interprofessionalism. Equity, diversity, and inclusion. Anywhere you are, you have to think about those who don't have opportunity. In Nigeria, we have people that are staying in one place. They said they have chased them away from Kaduna. Train is coming. They hijacked the thing. We have new things that were not happening before. Nobody will think. If you ask me terrorism when I was in school of nursing, it make no meaning to me. When I was in secondary school, they were asked to write something on bribery and corruption. I searched everywhere, I couldn't find. But when I now ask a primary school child to talk about corruption, they know, they are waking up to it, they are seeing it, it's within their radar. So begin to think about things that are not happening now, are not even within your radar, from every specialty of nursing you know, especially that aspect of nursing that you as a professional you are interested in. Globalization of education. You know, education is now globalized. You can't sit down and say, okay, I'm going to practice anywhere. If you go to anywhere where they don't demand all those things from you, when you get there, you are going to be doing them. I had a colleague who just came back from the US. She didn't let me rest, drink water and drop cup. And she's here in usage. And then she was troubling me. I said, okay, no problem, go ahead and work. When she came back, she said, Auntie, hey, the hard currency, you have to work hard for it. I said, Peleo. She said, when I stood for 12 hours, my leg was shaking. Nobody told me to say I cannot work for 12 hours again. I reduced it to 8 hours. I said, in UCH, you can move from here to another ward and go and greet your friend. When you finish greeting your friend, you come back. You come and do one shuka, you return. And then you go to the other ward. You can, all those things, maybe you clock in. When you clock in, the thing is reading. Whenever you step out, you don't even have to tell anybody. It's recorded that you have gone out to another ward. Those hours are not counted for. So when it's time to collect your money at the end of 2 weeks, you record that the money has been halved or quadrupled or whatever that has happened to the money, because the number of hours that you actually stayed where you are allotted, occupied in like on wherever you are occupied. If you find yourself somewhere, your money will not pay, and then you will pay tax. You pay local tax. The first time I got stipend of $4,000. And they gave me 2,000. I said, 4,000 lajo agree. One yes, Benny, 4,000. But state has taken 1,200. Federal has taken 800. Tax? You took 50% of my money for tax. I'm going back to my fatherland in Nigeria. Now I'm just saying that there are so many things that accompany whatever it is, but education is now globalized. So you don't want to just focus and say, okay, I'm going to be doing breaking ground